Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. 10 opposition MPs yesterday were suspended following a chaos during the joint parliamentary committee meeting on the Waqf Amendment Bill 2024. Now, the MPs included Kalyan Banerjee, Mohammad Javed, A. Raja, Saduddin Owaisi, Nasir Hussain, Mohibullah, M. Abdullah, Arvind Sawant, Nadimul Haq, and Imran Masood. Now, the meeting descended into disorder as opposition MPs accused the government of rushing the bill's approval ahead of the Delhi elections. In fact, Kalyan Banerjee went to the extent of lambasting the committee chair, Jagdambika Pal, for allegedly ignoring the opposition voices. And he said that the chairman doesn't listen to anyone. It feels like zamindari, then this JPC has become a farce. So, joining me now on this particular issue is former Rajya Sabha MP and editor-in-chief of Nai Dunya, Shahid Siddiqui joins us. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. And the very fact, and since this entire matter relates to the Waqf Amendment Bill, my first question to you is that is the government trying to rush in the Waqf Amendment Bill just ahead of the Delhi elections?
Look, any law or any amendment is to be judged by the intention. We always look at the intention of the government in bringing an amendment or a law. Here, the intentions don't seem to be very, very positive. Intention is not to improve the condition of the work. Intention is not to remove any kind of corruption or any kind of wrongdoing in the work boards, but the intention is to curtail, push the work into a corner, and by and large control all the Waqf properties by the government. That seems to be the intention, and basically it's a political intention. So when it's a political intention, they are always looking at elections, and this government does everything with elections in mind. Unfortunately, they are always taking every action is geared up to win elections, not to serve the society or serve the country. So here also they are rushing it up because they want to influence the daily election, but I don't know how far it will really help them because Delhi people are much more mature and educated.
But what do you think is the real intention of the government behind bringing in the Waqf Amendment Bill? And I want to talk about this at length because the government says that there is too much of corruption, as far as the Waqf properties are concerned. And that's the real cause. And they want to root out the corruption. And that is why they want to, usurp the Waqf properties and take it in their own hands.
Intention is very clear. Anybody can see this. The intention is not to root out any corruption. Corruption is there in every department of the government. Everywhere there is so much of corruption, and the government doesn't give a damn about it. The whole it's rotten. The whole system is rotten. The banking system is rotten, but they don't give a damn. Here they are worried about the corruption in so-called corruption in work boards. Their intention is to, and what is these work properties? Are they buildings? Are they huge shopping complexes? Are they malls? No, they are mosques, dargahs, and graveyards. 70-80% are mosques and the graveyards. Rest of the properties are with very, very, very low rentals, which were fixed centuries back. 5 rupees rent for a huge property or 50 rupees rent for a huge property kind of thing. And large number of properties, nearly 30-40% of the properties are occupied by the government illegally, which Waqf board have been fighting to get them vacated. But they don't do anything about that. They are not worried about Waqf. They are not worried about either the Muslims or the Waqf. They just want to prove that they have shown Muslims their place. They have pushed them into a corner, and then the intention is to take over large number of mosques and create political, incidents everywhere in the country, which they may exploit for their political ends.
What is the government trying to prove? I mean, are they directly and indirectly targeting the Muslim community through this Waqf Amendment Bill? Or do you think that there is a larger intention of, and the government tries to say that, look, this is a noble cause for which we are working? Where do you think that the government is really going wrong on this bill? And should a bill like this be in existence in the current scheme of things?
Every government says what they are doing is is for a noble cause. Hitler also said the same thing when he wiped out the Jews and killed, challenged people, differently abled people who were killed in their large numbers. He said it is in the interest of society and the humanity that those who are a burden on society, they are being eliminated. So never go by the what the government says. Always look at what their intention is, and here the intention is clear. Intention is to prove to their hardcore voters that they have done something. They have done something to show Muslims their place. They have taken a kind of a revenge of history. This government is on a continuous revenge spree, a so-called revenge spree of history, by, as I have said earlier, that by uh, you know uh, pushing a very weak community, a community which doesn't have any power at present, which are economically, educationally, socially, culturally, intellectually very on the back foot. By pushing them down and proving that they have done something great, I think they are showing their cowardice, and they are showing their very narrow political interests they are trying to serve, which is not in the interest of India, not in the interest of society.
But also, there has been, if you look at the bill and the broad contours of the bill, too much of power has been given to the DMs, and they can declare any property as which is a Waqf property, and it can be declared as Sarkari, which belongs to the government. So, what do you think is the government trying to do? Will they be used? Will the DMs also become a tool in the hands of the government through which they'll target the minorities?
Look, I know that DMs and SDMs are already overburdened. Now, putting the burden of, you know, finding solutions to any dispute on the DM and SDM is absolutely wrong. And then earlier there was a semi-judicial process for, managing any of property disputes. But here, it has power has been given to the SDM and the DM, and as soon as there is a dispute, and anybody can start a dispute to any property whatsoever, and as a result, the DM or SDM can lock that property. I mean, anybody goes and say that, look, Jama Masjid was a mandir and it belonged to this and so and so, and a foolish DM can say, let's lock down the Jama Masjid for the moment, and then we will decide, and we will decide in the next 20 years the case will go on, but for the moment let's lock it down. So that kind of disputes will take place in every village, every town of the country, and which will lead to lot of incidents which will not be in the interest of society, in the interest of peace in the society, and will lead to disputes. As I say that at the moment we have a few symbols, then we will have symbols in every area, every village, every town of the country, and the country cannot have any peace or any, the whole nation will be geared up just finding solution to these disputes instead of working on the growth and development of the country.
But, Mr. Siddiqui, given the fact that even the JPC is not ready to accommodate the views of the opposition, yesterday when Nasir Hussain and Kalyan Banerjee, they tried to express their views, Jagdambika Pal refused to listen to them. They stormed out of the meeting and they complained that the committee and its proceedings had almost become a farce. To which then BJP's Lok Sabha MP Nishikant Dubey called their conduct against the parliamentary practice, and he said, Nishikant Dubey says that they are trying to suppress the majority. Now, what would you really say to this, and also the conduct of the JPC?
You see, it's a dark day in the history of Indian parliamentary system. In no parliamentary democracy committee is controlled this way. I have been part of many committees as a member of Rajya Sabha, and in committee we rise above our own views and interests and party interests, and we all come together to find a consensus, find a solution in the interest of the country and the society. But here, either they don't want to go to a, they don't want to form a JPC, they don't want to go to a committee. Most of the laws are passed just without any discussion. Since the BJP has taken power, they have turned the parliament into a tool for their political interest, not to serve the interests of the country. And here the JPC is being used for, it's just a show. It's a facade that we have gone to JPC, we have taken the view of everybody, and now we have come with the report. And the report has already been prepared even before it came to the JPC. So this JPC is going to basically put a stamp on what was decided by the government. This JPC is not working independently, which is extremely unfortunate, because this JPC is supposed to be very independent of the intentions of the government.
Right. Yesterday in the JPC, there was a representative from Jammu and Kashmir also, because they said that it's important for the JPC to hear them out as well. But none of this happened. Nobody heard them out. Opposition MPs were suspended. Opposition MPs said that, at the last moment, the agenda of the JPC was changed. What do you think? Where is this leading? Where is this headed to as far as the parliamentary democracy is concerned? Because JPC or the select committees are the last resort, because when the legislations are not deliberated and discussed upon within the House, then it's said that, a consensus is evolved in such committees, whether it is a JPC or whether it is a select committee. A lot of scrutiny happens. But here, the manner in which the 10 MPs were suspended in one stroke, what does this really go to show? In fact, Kalyan Banerjee went to the extent of saying that Jagdambika Pal, who was the chairperson of the committee, almost thought of himself as a deputy prime minister and a deputy home minister.
Well, uh, he they are inspired by the prime minister and the deputy prime minister, and they are rightly inspired that way, because that is how the leaders of the BJP are behaving and treating the parliament. So I'm not surprised at all the way Jagdambika Pal is behaving. I know Jagdambika Pal, he was in the Congress, he has been a friend, but today he is being dictated by his party leaders, and he is not an independent person anymore. I'm sorry to say that. And it's very, with a heavy heart, I have to say that otherwise JPC chairperson is a very independent. He is as independent as a Supreme Court judge, or much more than that, because Parliament is, I believe that Parliament is above the courts and anything else. So JPC chairman, when he's managing the committee, then he has to be as neutral, as objective, as independent as a Supreme Court judge. But here we are not seeing that.
What do you think is the major reason why the government is trying to rushing through this bill? Of course, Delhi elections are around the corner. They could, I don't know whether it's politically motivated just for Delhi elections, but the larger agenda looks like something else totally. Why do you think that the government is in a tearing hurry to bring in this bill?
Of course, they have a political agenda. They want to do away with a lot of things, and once the hurrying, the steering hurry is not only for Delhi election, but because once they have control of the Waqf properties, they will start some disputes in various parts of the country, and these disputes will help them win the further elections. Like the Ajodhya dispute helped them to come to power. They want a few Ajodhya disputes, the Sambal disputes, all over the country, so that in fact this is a preparation for 2027 UP election, and the 2029 Lok Sabha election.
So you made a significant point. You were saying that once this bill is passed and it becomes an act, it could lead to a lot of political disputes. So are you saying that this Waqf Amendment Bill or the Waqf law, if it becomes, it can be a gold mine of sorts, through which BJP would try and politically survive through the 2027 UP elections and 2029 general elections as well?
You see, even before this Waqf Act has come, they have started these disputes everywhere, from Dargah in Ajmer Sharif to Jama Masjid in Delhi to other places in South, elsewhere. these disputes have already been ignited, and these disputes, because the courts are coming in the way. Courts say that you some places courts are helping them, in some places courts are coming in the way, so they want to do away with this hindrance, and with this act they will be able to start a few disputes, major disputes in various parts of the country, which will lead to confrontations, and these confrontations will be fatal and very toxic for the country and for the society.
Mr. Siddiqui, I'm sure this bill will, in all probabilities, be challenged in the court of law. That could take some time. But how do you think that the Muslim community will react to a bill like this, a Waqf Amendment bill?
Look, Muslim community today is totally leaderless, rudderless. They are helpless. They don't know what to do because they don't want a confrontation, and because they are showing their patience, because despite all the attacks on them in every area, economy, society, religion, every politically they are being attacked. But despite that, they have shown utmost patience, because they realize that the other party wants a confrontation. So by confronting them, they will be helping those very forces. But then the other unfortunate situation is that if you don't stand up, and if you don't confront, if you don't protest in a democracy, then you are taken for granted, and people think that they can go roughshod over you and bulldoze your aspirations, they can bulldoze your political ambitions, they can bulldoze your identity. So it's not just the houses which are being bulldozed, the very identity is being bulldozed today, which is extremely dangerous and unfortunate, and which I am sure the people of this country, the educated people, the sensible people, the rational people, the majority of the people in this country will realize that going too far is not in the interest of society, not in the interest of Hindus themselves.
One last bit, Mrs. Siddiqui, that you use the word bulldozed, and if the bill is made into an act, what do you think is it going to manifest into? Are we going to see the bulldozer actions rampant across the country because they will go after the Waqf properties which belong to the Muslims? How do you think that the scene would look like if this act becomes a law?
You see, they may use it here and there, but basically they are not interested in bulldozing these places. They are interested in long term confrontation, a dispute. A dispute should arise which
Right.
can be politically exploited for months, years and years together. So if they bulldoze it now, then they will not be able to exploit it for long, so it will lead to a direct violent confrontation. So they will my belief is that they may not bulldoze, they will use they will bulldoze the laws, they will bulldoze the democratic norms, they will bulldoze the, as I said, the identity, but they may not bulldoze some of most of these structures, because doing that, then the globally you will be you know criticized and condemned all over the world if you directly say bulldoze Dargah of Ajmer Sharif, or Jama Masjid of Delhi, or Taj Mahal. Then there will be huge problems. But they will target some smaller places of worship, start a dispute, want a confrontation, go there and keep on and on, and the media will have a field day, you know, showing live what is happening, how a team is going, survey is taking place. So it should be like a series, what you see today in these OTT serials. That serial never ends. It suddenly take after 40 episodes, a new turn takes place. Those who had died, again you find that they have again become alive, and the story takes a new turn, and the people sit and wait for the next 40 episodes. So there'll be a long episode of these confrontation which will go on and on for next 5 years, or maybe they won't like to exploit it for next 10, 15, 20 years. So that is the agenda, the exploiting these disputes for the next few decades, so that the people remain, people do not raise any objection to economic exploitation or social exploitation. The purpose is to exploit the majority of voters. who are majority are voters are Hindus. So it is to befool them that these things are being raised from teen talaq to 370 to this. Everything is to befool the common voters, the Hindu voters. So I don't know how long Hindus are going to stand to take this exploitation of their intelligence. They are being fooled by a section of political class, and how long that will happen, it depends on the intellect and the intelligence of the majority community.
Right. Though it's quite disturbing to hear this, and now the next meeting of the JPC is also scheduled towards the end of this month. So we'll have to wait and watch how it unfolds. Thank you so much, Mr. Siddiqui, for joining on the Federal. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this interview: subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to the Federal. Thank you.